Hey everybody, and welcome to Town Square Central. We have the distinct honor and pleasure today of talking with the Pons himself, Wyrom, who's here with us to do a year in review in what has been a pretty terrible year for like real life, but a pretty awesome year for Gemstone, I'd say. So Wyrom, welcome to Town Square Central. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
And today we're going to be doing a sort of rewind and looking at some highlights from this past year and then talking a little bit about the year to come. And then you also, I understand, have some exciting new stuff to talk about at the end of the episode.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. And so my thought was that we would talk a little bit about, for you, what the sort of highlights for 2020 were. And everyone loves a list, so we're going to do the top 10 releases in Gemstone of 2020.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. So how would you sort of characterize like 2020 for Gemstone, like writ large?
So it went really well for us. We started off the year with some plans to do Briar Moon Cove, and we had the year kind of settled come February, and then everything got turned upside down, and we kind of just had to react to everything. So it went really well for us because we were able to bring a lot of stuff to players, give you guys something to do while being stuck at home. And it went well for us, I think.
All right, let's start then. Let's just jump right into it. Number 10, what was your 10th? Wait, I don't even know how to phrase that. What was the 10th best thing that happened in Gemstone in 2020?
Okay, so I would have to say the Magic Resistance update. Now, it seems pretty minor, but it was something that players had been asking about. I know I asked about it as a player as well, where we were removing the Magic Resistance on items that were blocked from enchanting or ensorcel, and it really helped expand on people's inventory. Seems pretty minor, but it's really big when you can customize your inventory even more.
So that's the change that makes it easier to enchant and ensorcel things that were tough or impossible, right?
Well, the impossible ones, yeah. There was like a flag on items, and sometimes they were warranted, but other times they were just included for what seemed like no reason. So we reviewed them. We reviewed like items that players submitted. You would have to talk to a game master, and then we went ahead and decided to pretty much remove most of them. I can't think of anything that we stuck with those. So if you had a problem, we took care of it.
So making the unenchantable enchantable and ensorcelable.
Yes,
that's definitely a good thing. I'm trying to remember, someone I talked to pronounced ensorcel ensorcle, and I found it like deeply offensive as a human being to hear someone say that.
That's
I'm
kind
trying
of
to
like
remember who that was.
when people call me like Wyrom.
Well, I mean, if you don't want to be called Wyrom, you should spell your name differently. At this point, I'm upset when I hear people say worm. I'm like, no, man, come on. You can't just kill the O. That's actually going to be the title of this episode. You can't just kill the O.
You can't just kill the O. I like it.
That's also your new nickname, is the O.
The O. I dig it.
Yeah. That's something an O would say. All right, so let's get into number 9 then. What is the 9th?
Okay, again, it's kind of a smaller update, but it was huge for me. It's the group movement flag, so that if you're a stealth fighter, you can stay with your group and you're not going to get left behind. I play a rogue. My main is rogue, and that's always been a difficulty for me.
Wait, so like before, if you were stealth but in a group, they would just leave you and you'd be alone?
Well, like if you were in round time or something was going on, you would just get left behind. But now you can stick with the group. I think we've done a lot for stealth combat in terms of group hunting, so it's been helpful.
Yeah. No, that is a good thing. Less lonely rogues is definitely a good thing.
Rangers.
All right, so number 8.
All right, so number 8, I would say the profile update for the Proudest Victory. I think it's really cool to be able to display like any of your coolest kills. And I know for a long time people didn't want to lose the kill of some crazy creature that from an invasion. So I think it was really neat that we updated it so you can save that zany looking creature name on your profile forever.
What is the best creature name that you can have in your profile for your proudest kill?
Oh man, I mean, I kind of like the horrors that I made, but there's some really cool ones out there that I can't think of off the top of my head. I have a shadow encased being. That one was kind of cool.
Bean?
Being.
Oh, I was gonna say a shadow encased bean would definitely be my number one for sure. Like a
Right,
scary
right.
a scary bean. I don't want to fight that.
Yeah, nobody wants to fight a scary
Yeah,
being.
yeah. Um, Man, that's another good episode title right there. All right, so number 8 is the ability to add scary beans to your profile. What about
Exactly.
number 7?
I like the role play nominate updates that we did. We're a role playing game, and it's really good to be able to know when you're role playing with somebody that it's appreciated or it was seen. And I feel like that update helped propel a lot of role playing. And then we have that role playing contest with it. But I've been seeing a lot of role play nominate nowadays, and it's really nice to see that.
And that came out in April, right? Is part of the play a part together thing.
Yes, it did.
So that was like if I'm doing an amazing job role playing, then all of the millions of adoring people around me can nominate it, and then I will get notified, and then any game master who's on will also find out, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
then we also created one where the notification is silent. Just it was requested, but overall, most people use the one that's loud and everybody sees it.
Yeah. No, I mean I can see that way. Even if you don't get something from a game master, right? You at least get like the acknowledgement from a fellow player, which is a
Yeah,
nice feeling.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Okay. So rounding out the bottom 50% here, number 6.
All right, Merchant Palooza. That was also part of the play part together movement.
Oh, that was where everyone was all over in different cities, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was spearheaded by GM Lytle, and everybody just came together, and we just did humongous services for players during that weekend. It was pretty crazy. We had a dozen GMs donate scripts and unlocks, and it was like a very huge spontaneous event. Like it was spontaneous even on our end. Like there was very little planning for it. So
Yeah,
it,
I remember, I think that was the first time I remember Twitter being like a really useful tool for me, like in finding merchants, because
yeah,
I would just have my phone. I think I created a Twitter account just that I could get those notifications, and they were just constantly happening. Like it was like, oh, time to go to Illustum, like, oh, time to go to Soulhaven. Yeah,
yeah.
it was a good
It
time.
was crazy.
I did like the frantic energy of that too. It was like a. I'm trying to think of what it would be, like a fire sale. Like get your Gald while you can. Also, I've been told that Gald is not what people should say. That it's not it's not an acronym, it's an initialism. Wait, do I have that backwards? Yeah, an acronym is the one, like NASA is an acronym, but like FBI is an initialism. And I've been
Right.
told that GALD is an initialism. So what's your official ruling on that?
I don't even use that as a term. I feel like that kind of came up and everybody uses it. I don't even think everybody does lightning and deepening when they say they're doing that. It's usually just general alterations. So
So is that GA or GA?
just ga, just
Okay.
ga, just alters, just
Yeah.
alters.
Oh, that's such a hipster take. But all right, fine. I don't even say GALD. All right. So that's number 6 then. So number 5 now. We are.
All right.
I was gonna say we're in single digits, but that's stupid. We're at number 5. We're halfway through.
We've been kind of in single digits.
All right.
All right.
Let's
So
move on.
the troll flower girl was a really fun
Oh
thing that I coded.
yes.
I've always been wanting to do kind of like a daily quest just to see how it would go. And I was kind of thinking about doing a bunch of things. And at the time, I was thinking about things that would happen in spring, and I'm like, oh yeah, flowers. What can I do with flowers? And then I was also kind of reading up on Hollow Knight, and there's this delicate flower quest in that, and I'm like, oh, I should try to do some sort of flower quest. So that's kind of where that birthed from. And I kind of gave her like a sad story as she was traveling across, where she just wanted to go home, and it was really fun.
I remember there was an Easter egg with that I'm trying to remember right now. I'm gonna
There,
search. Yeah,
there
so if
were a
you
couple things you could say to her.
if you I remember typing. I sent this to you on May 21st. If you
Okay.
type "ask girl about Wyrom," you get a disfigured flower girl howls "Dard mri mri," which I'm gonna need to run through the translator again to figure out what
Yeah,
that says.
you're gonna have to let me know what it says too, because I
You forgot your own Easter egg.
I don't know
Yeah,
my own
fair enough,
Easter
fair
eggs.
enough. All right, so translated, that is Wyrom is my dad.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
actually is Rom me dad, but
yeah,
I
trolls.
can read between the lines there. I
Yeah,
speak
trolls don't
troll
know
girl.
what they're saying.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a callback to Aether, who did a bunch of things with trolls. Like he would say like Aether rules and with the troll speak. So that's kind of where I wanted to go with it. A Screw did some things with trolls, and I think GM Scribes did something too with trolls, where they talk about the GMs.
Oh man, I see all these Easter eggs that I have no idea about. There should be a separate episode one day.
Yeah, and then a player had said something like, "I missed an opportunity to say something about Aerith from Final Fantasy VII," so that got kind of added in later.
Oh yeah, that was a huge myth, and you're a big Final Fantasy fan, right? Well,
Yeah,
well,
but
I thought you were a big Final Fantasy fan. I think you've
I am,
exposed your true colors here.
but not so much Final Fantasy VII. I'm more of a Final Fantasy VI guy, but seven
Six.
still.
Which one is six?
Six is Kefka, and then you got the Returners, and
Oh, is that the one where you get in the mech early in the game?
yeah,
Yeah.
with Terra. Yeah.
Yes. Final Fantasy VI is good. It's no 7, but it's good.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. Although I will say, replaying Final Fantasy VII, I haven't played the remake, which my teenage self would be ashamed of, but replaying that game, like, JRPGs aren't, like, awesome for plot, right? Like, they're just not. You can't pay attention to plot. I'm sorry.
There's the early ones have just really bad translations too. So
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so number 5, and you know what? I wouldn't have put this in my top 10, but the Flower Girl is a great choice.
yeah.
So now we are in the upper echelon here. So what is number 4?
All right, I'm gonna go with the fiery hunting grounds where the phoenixes are over on
This is
Terrace.
in Terrace, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that concept is so cool. I wish I could hunt there with one of my characters. Nobody's appropriate level. I mean, I could go there with one of my capped ones in platinum, but nobody's like appropriate for that area. But it's such a cool area.
Yeah.
It's and then
I haven't been there either.
there's I don't know if it's been found. I haven't been paying attention, but there's a really rare drop with the phoenixes, and it's pretty cool. I don't really want to spoil it in case it hasn't been found, but it's a really rare and cool drop.
We're about to see all of the Nelamar hunters suddenly start hunting in the volcano instead.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. All right, so new Phoenix. And what's the name of that place again? I remember it had like a punny, cute
It's
name.
I believe it's fiery. I believe that is how it's supposed to be pronounced, but I think some people call it something else too.
And it's like Fey Irie, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which to me just makes me think it's like supposed to be done with a Jamaican accent. You know, like Irie. I don't know how much Jamaican patois you've had in your life, but that yeah.
Not
all
a
right.
whole lot. Not a whole
Okay.
lot.
So all right, number 3. We're in the top 3 now.
Top three. All right, the ESP updates. Now that might feel like a boring update, but getting the chatter back in game and
Yeah.
people just communicating in game again is huge.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't done a whole lot, mostly because we didn't want to cross that bridge with out of character chat in game because we didn't know how crazy it can get. But we feel like we got to be modern and we got to bring that into the game so people have a way to communicate with each other. So it was a big update in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and I feel so like Elnet is a cesspool of vile filth, right? It just
Elnet.
is.
What's Elnet?
But I can't not have it on because I feel like I'm missing something, and I think that the ESP update is a way of letting you feel, even if you're off, doing something by yourself, letting you still feel connected to other players, which I think is really important.
Yeah,
To have like an internal tool that can do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they did a lot of great work. Dev put in those private channels that you can have, so I think it's really cool. I haven't really watched how many private custom channels have been made, but I know people use it and I know people are enjoying it. I see a lot more chatter in games, so that's cool.
Yeah. All right. Now we're at our last two here. So
All right.
give me your number 2 update or thing of 2020 for Gemstone.
So it's tough. It's tough because I would probably put this as number 1, but I think number 1 has to be something clear. And I'm going to say number 2 is the Open Sea Adventures.
Yeah.
It is an amazing system. I mean, it's like its own game. It's so cool. I still don't have a ship, and my main in Platinum is a pirate. I just haven't had time to really play, but man, I am so pumped to want to get something huge. I don't know if I can afford it, but
Yeah. Well, you already have a yacht, right? Like, you don't need another
right.
boat.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's not a yacht, but I can get.
I will say it is like an entirely new game, and it allows people to do things that like were not things that I thought were possible in Gemstone. It's just a huge system. That's
Yeah.
like an entirely separate thing.
It's a huge system, and then there's a giant town that you can go to, and there's hunting. I mean, it is. I don't know. It blew my mind once it was finally released, like how big it really was.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's exciting to think about like potential for future stuff happening there too.
Yeah.
I don't know if there are plans to blow that up further, but I feel like there's a lot of possibility there.
Yeah. I mean, Retzer and his team, they definitely have big plans, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to get him on to talk about that at some point. But
Yes.
the other thing I was going to say is that I think one of the things I learned when I was talking with Chris on the episode about why people play is that a lot of people play Gemstone for a very particular reason, and a lot of them are very distinct.
Right.
So, like if you're playing Hades, right? You probably enjoy like grindy, super challenging dungeon crawls,
Right.
And that's probably the only kind of person who's playing that game seriously. But in Gemstone, hundreds of people are playing for many different reasons, and I think Open Sea Adventures gives people an entirely new reason to play, which is always, I think, a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so that brings us then to the moment we've all been waiting for, Wyrom's number 1 development for 2020. So what is it?
Number 1 will have to be custom dies. No. Number 1 is Ascension. Post-cap development. I mean, it's been a long time coming. Right now it's in its early stages, but the possibilities with it are pretty endless.
Yeah. When I talked with Mestis about the Ranger update, he seemed to be dropping some hints that didn't feel super. I mean, they were cagey, but they weren't like, slips of the tongue. Like, he definitely seemed to be suggesting that he, and I guess other people in dev, have some like pretty clear ideas about what they want to do next. Yeah.
I've seen some of the stuff that they want to do, and it's pretty huge. I really can't spoil that.
Yeah.
Estilled will come come after me, but
Yeah, no one is
yeah,
still angry with you.
yeah, nobody wants that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cool things to come, and really the possibilities that we can do with it are pretty open ended, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah. No, I actually. So when I was thinking through what my top 10 would be, and this I
Yeah,
think gets to the point about what like why people play. Like
right.
I don't think Ascension was on my list, which is I don't mean to be like insulting because I think that it is a thing that's hugely important for a lot of people. But like I was excited about a lot of like new items and events, and like I really loved the and I just think I guess you kind of got to this, but I loved the effort to like engage the community when COVID was first a really devastating thing. Not to
Right.
say that it's not now and won't get worse, but like the experience bonus and the what do you call it, the code to come back, like being, I don't know, all of that stuff I just thought was like a nice gesture to help people out in a time when like they really needed something.
Yeah,
I Yeah.
we wanted to keep people distracted from everything going on and just to relax and unwind in front of Gemstone. So I
Yeah.
hope we did a good job at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I liked that 15% experience buff.
Yeah,
Right?
a lot of people. I sometimes get random messages from people just saying, "Bring it back, bring it
Who
back."
would say that? I have definitely not suggested that should stay myself.
Pretty sure you messaged me.
I don't know. Maybe. Who can know these
Who
things?
can know? Who can know? But yeah,
Um,
there were a lot of great updates. I mean, I was thinking about some other things. I tried to exclude like profession specific stuff.
yeah.
I know there's a lot of spell updates, so I'm sure everybody's top 10 could be different. There's one thing that I didn't talk about that I would have put in the top 10, but it's not happening this year, is the legendary feeder.
Mm.
That would have been in my top 10, but it's coming out after this year. So that one I'm super excited about as
And
well.
and
It's
this the legendary feeder is like really legendary. Like the stuff in there is kind of is sort of like absolute top tier incredible stuff, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's something I've been wanting to see in game for over 5 years at this point. We've talked about it over and over, like how could we do it? What can we do? And this year was the year that we figured it all out, and it'll be here soon.
I would. There's a link somewhere to like all of the changes that have happened in Gemstone recently, right?
Yeah, I believe Town Crier
Yeah, I think that they
does
do.
one of them, and we've been trying to track it better. I know we're not the best with a change log, but we have been tracking things a little bit better, and we're trying to make sure it's out there on the wiki.
I think there was just a massive amount of new development this year, and maybe also as part of last year too. And I think that I think especially if you take a historical view and look at like the last couple years versus like the last 20, like the amount of change has been kind of outrageous. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, there's a link right here on the Town Crier,
yeah,
which
it
I
was
think I'm just going to include in the episode.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
it was just a really big year.
yeah, some of these changes are like I think a lot of these things in and of themselves in other years would have been like a big deal, but now are just things that I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about. Like the updates that Nigel did to the combat maneuvers.
Yeah,
Like those were big ones. There were some new ones there that have completely changed it. Was archery, was that this year or
yeah.
last year?
Archery was this year.
Right, like we didn't even talk about that, and that's a huge quality of life.
Yeah,
Spirit beasts.
yeah. Spirit Beast was really fun.
There were a ton of new scripts, like the twin weapons. I know were super popular.
Oh
the,
yeah,
the animal spirit ones were super popular. The tattoo thing came out. We didn't talk
yeah.
about that.
I was gonna put that on the list, but then I was thinking, I'm like, profession specific, but yeah, the tattoos for monks are great. It reminds me of a tabletop game I used to play, Rifts. There were, I guess it's a class or a race. Yeah, I think it was more a race, but there's tattoo men. Then they had tattoos all over them, and they can summon powers from them. Just reminds me of that.
That's awesome. That's like, do you play Dungeons and Dragons?
I used to a long time ago, but
Yeah.
all my tabletop playing was like 20 years ago. So
So I just started playing Dungeons and Dragons a month ago. Well, if you don't play D&D, this is a stupid story, but yeah, they have like magic tattoos in the newest expansion. It's just a cool
I'm
idea.
sure a lot of tabletop has similar stuff like that.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a pretty amazing year for Gemstone, to say the least.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off that, the game grew over 20% this year. Like
in terms of number of subscriptions.
Yeah, subscriptions. I'm not talking about free to play. I'm not talking about people currently on trials. Like the game has grown 20.5% since last year at this point, and it's been retained the whole year.
And what do you attribute? I mean, I'm sure it's a number of things, but like, what would you point to as like the biggest contributing factor to that?
I think the active development in the community. The town storylines that have been going on. Everybody is really engaged right now. And I feel like it's just really helped us out this year.
Yeah.
And we hit over 1,000 people in game several times this year.
That's amazing. That's like 1990s energy right there,
Yeah, like and just to give like relative to the numbers, like the numbers currently that we have in game are very similar to around 2008 numbers, and we're seeing spikes that are very similar to like after the conversion to Gemstone 4. So the numbers are doing really well.
That's awesome. And it's obviously good for the game. So yeah, it looks like the investment in... Well, I would actually say two things. One, obviously all the dev stuff is awesome, and all the active development is great. I would say, too, that I really enjoy the communication about it. And I think that that's a thing that is relatively new, right? Like GMs being super open and direct about what's happening, soliciting feedback, really sharing while it's in process or even in the idea stage. Like that would never have happened fairly recently.
Yeah, we've been sharing game design documents with players before. Because a lot of times when we code, it's kind of an echo chamber. So we're all like, oh, yeah, this is really cool. But a cool idea is only as cool as the players want it. So if you end up spending all this time coding it and then you get it out there and it's like a dud, it's a waste of time. And so I think having player feedback like from the ground level is really well done really well.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. And I know that there was some chatter on the Discord about like that back and forth and how it happens, and I think that what I took away from that from like the community's response to that was like, this is really important and even like sacred, I think, to a lot of people, and we don't want this to go away.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it is a rare game where you get to just like directly interface with the people who make it as freely and as easily as you can with Gemstone, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had a rough spot there for a little bit on Discord, but I think things are getting back to normal.
Yeah. I'm sure that I sometimes wonder what it must be like to be you and to like open up Discord in the morning, especially when like something is happening, and just be like, like 5 million messages. It must be a little overwhelming at times.
Yeah, you don't want to know that.
So don't take it personally if Wyrom takes a minute to get back to you.
It was getting really overwhelming this year when it comes to like direct messaging. I had to turn off my direct messaging for a little bit. I'm kind of easing back into it, but it was extremely overwhelming, like from August to October. So.
Yeah, you should just do a. Did you ever watch Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
So, when like they would have town halls and it would just always go off the rails with like deranged maniacs screaming at them? You should just have like a monthly town hall.
We used to do the town halls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I mean, they didn't get deranged or anything, but we used to have like town halls for certain professions and certain development. So
no, I want like total free for all
chaos.
Derangement. Like everyone on Skype, like you have to have videos on. And just people just frothing at the mouth. That's what
just
I want.
Like 100 people like on a Zoom call.
Yeah, but no mic control. Like anyone can talk at any time. That's what I want.
That seems.
That's going to be my number one if that happens in 2021.
2021. All right.
So you've said that you have a sneak peek that you're excited to talk about that's big. So tell us about that.
Okay, so I've been working on this for about 2 months, and it's something that's been requested for quite a bit. But we are going to be doing the premium and platinum point pooling. So your points will just all be used together. So your premium and platinum points, you can use them in either instance, however you want to use them. I'm aiming to have this ready right after the new year. It was a lot of I was going through a lot of spaghetti. There was spaghetti code all over the place for this stuff, but I feel like I nailed it down and we're ready to go. Had to create some new GM tools. We've been doing some final testing. I've roped in GM Keelik, who's been helping me, and we're just about ready. I think I'm a little
Okay.
nervous because it's a huge system and it's attached to a lot of things. But so you pretty much, if you're a platinum player, you're gonna almost double your points. We've done point swaps a couple times, and they've been able to bring like their prime points over to platinum in the past, but never platinum to prime. So that should be a huge update for a lot of people.
So you're just expecting then like a massive influx of Sadie orders, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's probably going to get a little hectic in the beginning. We'll
Yeah.
see a lot of scrolls being requested, but I think the value and there's a lot of other stuff going on with premium too, and I think it's too early to talk about it. But Keelik has been doing a lot of work trying to build some new premium benefits, more point value stuff. That's pretty much all I should say. But
Okay.
yeah, we're going to see a lot of requests, a lot of points, a lot of cool work to be done on some powerful weapons, maybe.
Awesome. Well, that is exciting. And then any other I know you can't spoil the dev team's fun, but any other stuff that you want to hint at in 2021 for folks to look forward to?
Well, I made a post kind of saying coming soon.
Oh yeah,
We're gonna be doing,
that was super confusing.
yeah, something's coming.
Deliberately.
It was. We're gonna have some perks coming out soon. There's gonna be some fun stuff going on early 2021. We're gonna have some stuff people can do. I said there's gonna be a real treat. I'll go ahead and talk about that. We're gonna put some real gems out in game too. So
Dude, it's always been a dream of mine since I played as like a kid to find one. So I'm now going to
yeah,
be looking on, under, in every single thing in the game.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
you want, and that's what you want to do too. You want to look at the room description. You want to look at the objects in the room. You don't want to search. They're not going to be in treasure boxes. They're going to be out in special areas in the game. Try to think of remote areas. Try to think of things that might have a lot of value in how it was designed, but maybe it's not like a hunting ground.
Hmm.
And that's all I'll kind of say about that.
Okay.
And we'll
And
we'll be doing
it,
it in all instances too. So it'll be prime, platinum, and we'll put something out in shattered.
that's awesome. Shattered, it'll be just like an absurdly dressed gem that doesn't actually make sense. Um, the and for people who don't know, what you're referring to is the fact that like you can find a special gem in game,
Yep.
and it will be a real gem that gets like mailed to you in the mail, and then you have like it's like catching a home run ball at a baseball game.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. They're like, this is not going to be one of them, but like say it was a quartz, you would see a large quartz in game, and then when you pick it up, you're going to get some special messaging. It's going to give you a code. You're going to email that to, I think, at simutronics.com, I think.
That's an amazing email address.
And just be patient, and then we send it out to you.
So you know now that revealing that there's going to be like 400 fake emails that get sent to that address, but that's okay.
I'm pretty sure it's like listed in email. Maybe we should scrub that. Scrub that. We got to scrub that.
We got to delete that. Modify the record. We'll just do a beep, so it'll be like burp at simutronics.com.
Nice. And
Yeah.
so watch. Everybody's just gonna send me email.
Yeah. So once again, that's Wyrom at. Yeah. Well, Wyrom, thank you so much for joining us today as we close out what hopefully is bookending like just a crazy year, by helping us to recognize some of the awesome stuff that's happened in Gemstone and sort of giving us some hints about stuff to come.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, don't forget to come to the New Year's Eve open house.
Oh, yeah, so talk about that. I don't actually know about that.
Oh, okay. So we put out some ladders. They come out, I think, in all the towns, and you can climb up them, and you go into what's called the Crossroads, and you can visit all the GM offices that are put out. I believe my office will be out. There's some fun stuff to find. I have an arena in my office that usually has a lot of chaos going on in it, so you got to find that.
Shocker.
There might be some fun stuff in my office this year. There's a new poster if you're collecting them. I mean, that's kind of silly.
Oh, there's like stuff you can take out of the offices.
Yeah, at least my office, there's some stuff that you can get for a souvenir.
Cool.
And then we all hang out, and there's custom titles that people get. They're kind of silly. I mean, everything's kind of silly, and you can just talk to the GMs and have fun.
Cool. And so that's New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, I think we start like around 6 or 8 p.m. Eastern, and it goes up until like 4 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, and it's not like anyone out there is going anywhere for New Year's Eve anyway, so
well,
now you have a date. Now you have a date.
Now there's something to do.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again, man, and we will I'll catch you in 2021.
All right, talk to you later.